Erling, congratulations. How good does that win feel?
Yeah, it feels good and good to win 3-0.
What did it feel like out there before Doku opened the scoring? Did it feel a bit tense and nervous?
I think we just missed the last shot on goal. We created a lot of things that was almost a chance. Lots of crosses. We didn't get the last shot. So Brentford defended well, and I mean they're a good team. So it's not easy. No games in Premier League is easy. So we are happy.
An assist and a goal for you. That's your 26th Premier League goal of the season. It's not half bad, is it?
I think it's all right. It's been an up and down season, and I'm trying to do my job. And 26 goals is it's okay. It's more than last year.
Look, you've got a busy 7 days coming up next week. Three very important games within 7 days. How are you approaching them, and what's the mindset?
I haven't thought of any other game. I'm a bit tired from the game that I just played, so how we approach it. And now don't think of any games until 2 days, and then try to win the next game. After that, recover good, focus on next game. After that, the same. After that, same.
Thinking of the title at all?
I think if you play for Man City, you think of titles every single day.
That's a stock answer. It's a very good one as well. So 2 points behind Arsenal. They've both got 3 games left to play. It's Arsenal next, of course, away at West Ham on Sunday. And I just wonder, from before now and even now, that mindset of the experienced players, the leaders in that Man City dressing room, how important it was actually in that second half before they scored to just keep that belief and composure.
Yeah, they've got a nice little mix when it comes to that. And I think someone like Erling Haaland, who works so hard, you look at him, he actually... Just saying to Ben there, we were discussing, like, he gives everything. And I know that's every fan at home would say that's the least you can do, but he does. And that's what you've got to do in these title races. You look at Bernardo Silva scrapping away in the middle of the park. Look, he's leaving at the end of the season. He's had 10 years. He's been ridiculously successful, but he knows that isn't enough. He knows he needs more. And then that allows for the likes of Doku, who said needed a little bit of time to bed in. He's now becoming one of the main men. It was good to see Phil Foden coming on. Was it not for Queeve Kelleher today, he would have got on the score sheet. He made some excellent saves. But even Mamouche scoring at the end, you saw what that meant to Haaland. You need everyone firing when you're in the running. And when you're facing them in that situation, is it just relentless because you know what it means and how much they need that?
Yeah, absolutely. He mentioned in his interview then, you know, it's next game, recover the next game. I think same with his attempts, his shots on goal. You know, he's missed a shot, it's the next one. He gets the next one, and he'll score one more. He'll get the next one. He'll score another one. So I think that's his mentality, and having someone like him leading that attack, and then the relentless players in around him like Bernardo Silva, Doku, in and around him. Yeah, it's tough to deal with, of course.
What a week it's been for Doku. What a season it's been once he's got going. But they played an hour. It was 0-0. You felt they were looking for something special. He stepped up again.
Yeah, he was just relentless in that first half, wasn't he? And everything you felt like was coming through him. Ironically, this one is probably one of his failed attempts, and that's what catches Brentford cold. A little 1-2 there, but then once he gets into this position, absolutely devastating finish.
It's a great finish, isn't it? Yeah, he's only got one place to really put that, above Hickey's head. We spoke here, a little bit of luck for Doku, but he deserves that, but he's sharp here on the reaction. And we're just looking at Thiago here, centre forward in that position, just wants to go on the attack, maybe thinks that Matty Jensen's going to nick it before Doku, but Doku's sharp, gets there ahead of him, and Thiago's already thinking about the front foot and going on the attack rather than sort of holding his position and maybe getting a block in.
Yeah, he's almost looking to trademark that now, isn't he? That is an absolutely brutal finish. And we saw a little bit of frustration at the end of the first half, didn't we? Throwing his arms in the air. Look, he put so many good balls in, and there he is saying, it's my time. I'm coming to the forefront, and he has this week. He really, really has for his team.
Yeah, what a week, because had he not scored another spectacular goal, the last kick of the game at Hale Dickinson, then it would have been a different narrative today.
Yeah, look, no title is given to you, and you've got to stay in it. Tooth and nail, they're fighting with. Look at Donnarumma in that forefront. I mean, that is just chaos, isn't it? That's absolute chaos, but that's someone not giving up. 95th, 96th minute, just saying, look, a point might be enough. And that's how important that goal may be. That may be one of the turning points of the season. It just depends who wins it in the end. There'll be some, You know, is it going to be Declan Rice saying it's not over, or is it going to be Doku scoring that 96th minute?
Just in their moments. It's where the top players step up, isn't it? You know, the stand out, the difference makers, and he's certainly doing that at the minute.
Yeah, and Haaland is difficult to mark. You gave us that insight before the game, but he's just sometimes in the right place at the right time, isn't he? This came down the City right, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. You see Semenyo picking up the ball here, and Brentford have got a lot of bodies in and around the box as they have done most of the game, and they defended really well in general, but Semenyo gets at Keane Lewis-Potter here, not a natural left-back, but shifts it again, gets a run on him, pulls it back. You see Haaland's movement, he just pulls away from all the defenders and lets them all get sucked towards the 6-yard box, and he, similar to the first half actually, with his chance that he nearly scored from, he kind of just drops off and loses Christophe Ayer, and he's there to get the rebounds, and it doesn't matter how it goes in, he's managed to get his first shot away and follow it up with a little back heel, cheeky one to bundle it over. But yeah, he's dangerous in those positions, isn't he? And even those count.
Yeah, brilliant. He's again another relentless performance from him. He was going to get that goal by hook or by crook. Obviously had some relatively simple chances by his standards in the first half, didn't take them, but as Ben was talking about with his mentality, it's always the next, and he'll keep coming.
Yeah, and as you say, who knows how important another goal could be. Marmoush got it, Haaland assist in this goal difference conundrum if it goes to the last day.
Look, just ramp it up. You're dealing with a team in Arsenal who've been excellent, and they've had a really good week, but there's no getting away from it. No one in that team has won the Premier League. So if you're Manchester City, what questions can you ask? Of course, you respect the fact that you're playing against Brentford today and you've got to battle out the win in the first place. A 1-0 would be great. But if they can do this as well, again, getting Marmoush on the score sheet, an incredible finish, just send the message, put the ball in their court. Going away to West Ham tomorrow is going to be a tough game. And can you put that, put in that, I think that's 1 goal behind now, added pressure, and a fantastic goal late on in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great team goal as well. On the build-up, I think you mentioned it, Steve, in the build-up to the goal, the way they played out and found the pass, and Haaland providing the assist this time. So.
Yeah, and City just the second time this season have got a goal from a substitute, and Marmoush's second Premier League goal of the season. But as Joe was saying, no doubt and debate about the star of the day again, Jérémy Doku. Right from the off, he was everywhere with a bit between his teeth his whole day. He
was electric, and obviously, like we talk about in the first half, he didn't actually get much chance to get a shot off himself, but just had his timing was there. You know, he's a very unselfish player. We just saw him feeding O'Reilly in there. He's always looking to assist as best he can. That's a brilliant ball for Erling Haaland. But these are the dangerous positions that he's picking up, and he's so sharp out the blocks.
I think for me, he's so sharp, but it's not even skills. He's just sort of nudging the ball and moving and going quickly and shifting that ball, manipulating the ball, and just goes, and he's electric, and it's so hard to defend when he can go both ways as well, and his end product is just improving each week. And you see there pulling it across for Phil Foden now, a fantastic save. But yeah, I think it's just his end product's just improving so much, and yeah, you just see it, his confidence flowing, and the finishes that he's providing as well. Incredible finish.
Yep, 8 goals this season, which has equalled his career best of last season, and 11 assists as well. And in terms of today, look at that. He was first for chances created, touches in the opposition box and completed dribbles. Equal first for those final third passes as well, and second for touches and shots. He was absolutely everywhere, and he's had some week in a Manchester City shirt. And here are his post-match thoughts.
Jérémy, first of all, tell us about your goal. It seems to be a very similar goal to one you've scored before.
Yeah, it looks a bit like the one against Everton, but yeah, we wanted to take short the corner. First, I go past my man, and then I want to look for the pass in between for, I think it's Bernie or Phil. Ball comes back, then I'm inside the box, and I feel like I have space to shoot. I do it without thinking, and I'm happy that it went in.
Is that how you feel you're playing at the moment? You can do things without thinking, it's pure instinct?
I always have been an instinct player. So what we see today is working out. I score some goals, but if you look at the game, I always played like this, instinct. But now obviously the goals are coming, so now people are gonna say, "Wow!" But I haven't been a different player.
We saw you make that move a few times in the first half, but when you scored, was that the first time it opened up just like it did?
Yeah, I feel like after the first chance that I had when I came inside, the right back tried to really close my right foot, and then they came with 2. So he opened a bit more the outside and wanted to test me with speed. So yeah, on the goal, I felt like that was really the first time after that I had really the space to come inside, and then I tried to shoot.
The 3 points was the most important thing today, but once you got one, it seemed as though the team were really focused on, hang on a minute, we may need a few more by the end of the season.
Yeah, I feel like 0-0 against a team like that, especially how dangerous they are on set pieces. We know that we had to score, and when we scored the goal, obviously then there are more space, and then we scored the second goal, and we were a bit relieved, happy. But obviously then we also know that we need some goals. So I was happy as well for Omar. He has been training hard, and this is the fruit of the work that he has been doing. So I'm happy for him.
You go again Wednesday. In between then Arsenal play again. Do you watch that or do you leave it alone?
I don't know what time it is, but if I have time I will watch. Obviously I'm a football fan, I like football, so I will probably watch.
Willing West Ham along the way. And it's really interesting. They know they need goals because winning a Premier League title and goal difference always brings a big smile to your face, Joe. So we ought to mention that because your year is the only year it's ever happened. But it is a possibility this year between these.
Just cover all bases. Like I was saying, I think Jérémy talked about it there. First and foremost, it was try and beat Brentford because they're a really tough outfit. They defended really well. They made it tough. They were stubborn. I think once they got the second and the clock started ticking on, they could start thinking about goal difference. And as he said before, it's so important that your whole squad's firing. He talked about Mamouche training well. They're the fruits of his labour, and he's enjoyed that today. And they're the little moments, Ben, in a squad when you know someone who's been struggling. It's only his second league goal this season. It's just nice moments. We all know Doku's playing well. We all know Haaland's playing well. But you want Mamouche scoring, you want Foden scoring. That's what takes you over the line.
Yeah, as an opposition player, when you're breathing a little heavily towards the end, shall we say, and you see someone of a £68 million striker in Mamouche coming on, that must be...
Yeah, Mamouche, Foden coming on, it's relentless, the depth of squad, but as Joe said, Mamouche is going to be needed. You know, towards the end of the season, he might be the one that comes on and gets that final goal to win it, but Phil Foden, we were willing to get a goal, weren't we? You know, when the second goal had gone in, we wanted to, try to see if he could, build a bit of confidence towards the end of the season as well, and then get him firing as well, because, going into the summer for England as well, for example, it'd be great to see him firing. The whole squad's going to be needed for Man City now.
I mean, we saw that the year they won it on the final day with Gundogan coming off the bench at half-time. There are stories and narratives in there.
Of course there are.
For players to have.
And obviously we've got the Man City story today. Tomorrow's a new day. We all know that Arsenal, it's in their hands. They'll have watched that. They'll be aware of what's gone on. But there'll be so much belief in their dressing room, and they've got Mikel who's going to be in their ear just telling them to focus on their own game. And look, on paper, that's the beauty of the Premier League, right? They go to West Ham, relegation struggling team. Arsenal should win, right? But that's not the Premier League. It's a tough league, and they're going to have to earn it if they are going to get over the line.
But mentally, they would have been expecting City to win, but hoping Brentford got something.
I think you allow... When I was in these situations, I allowed myself to be human for the 120 minutes, whatever, with half-time. You could allow yourself to be a little bit emotional, willing, if I'm an Arsenal player, willing Brentford to hang on. Are they going to score? Do I think that should be a red card? All emotion, watch the game, done. All you can worry about now is West Ham. You're a professional, you believe in your teammates, and that's your job to go out and execute a plan tomorrow. And it's just relentless, and it's such a privilege to be in that position. Arsenal are experiencing it for the first time at the very latter end of the season, obviously since the early 2000s, so this new squad. So it's new feelings for them, new emotions, and how they react tomorrow if it is 0-0 at half-time. But you saw how City reacted, 0-0, calm, controlled, ready to go again. Arsenal need to do that tomorrow.
So it'll be the City players turn to be emotional for 100 minutes, wanting West Ham to do something tomorrow. But when you're at the bottom scrapping, even if it is the league leaders, it's equally as important, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Similar to what Hart said then, it's, you allow yourself to will the other team to have a down moment, and then, like you say, once you're in that zone, James says that he might watch tomorrow, but once you're in that zone, once that game's gone, you're back into focused on yourselves, and it's all in your own hands when what you can do.
And then we'll see which twist and turn goes from tomorrow. Do you think tomorrow's the defining day? Do you think if Arsenal win that's it for twists and turns and the story's written?
I think that'll be a long way. There'll be a long way to achieving what they want to achieve, Arsenal, if they can win tomorrow. But there's no getting away from... They'll probably then have to turn their attention to City on Wednesday, and if City win on Wednesday, then Burnley at home, obviously expected to win, but then they've also got to think about going to Palace. So look, it's each day as it comes, each moment, each training session, each recovery session. That's how you've got to live, and then hopefully on that last day you're lifting the trophy, and then it all matters not, because you've done what you need to do.
It's a brilliant weekend though, isn't it, with all eyes on this for City, and the big question is, could they get back to winning ways? They have. And now this enormous game tomorrow at both ends of the table. I mean, it's what the Premier League's all about.
Yeah, it's a massive game, and West Ham will be certainly up for it tomorrow. So yeah, there'll be no givens there, and I think even Arsenal going to Burnley in a couple of weeks. My old team, I think they gave City a good game a couple of weeks ago. City was struggled to break them down initially, and there was chances after chance, and Burnley held firm. So there's all to play for. I think you can't write anyone off in this league. Anything can happen, even with Burnley down at the minute. But I think the focus on tomorrow is immense, and what a game to look forward to.
Absolutely. The other side of the story today, just a second defeat in 9 Premier League games for Brentford and their manager, Keith Andrews.
Yeah, we're playing against a team that's fighting for the title. And I think you could see that in their urgency. I liked a lot of what we did today. I thought we showed a lot of bravery. I did think we showed a lot of courage around how we approached the game. And it needed to be a near-perfect performance to win tonight. But I don't think the scoreline should fool anyone into thinking it was an absolute rout. I think the way we approached it, the margins of the opportunities we had, the margins of some of the decisions that were made, I think were quite telling overall. So I'll step back from it and think, I'm really proud of what we produced, but ultimately we lost the game.
He's proud of what they produced today, and so he should be. They're still sitting in 8th on 51 points. And remember, there's a strong possibility that 8th could be enough for Europe. Still got 6 points to play for, as you can see, looking at that league table. And you obviously work with him on the staff at Brentford. I mean, could anyone have predicted with 2 games to go they'd be in the top 8?
No, he's done a fantastic job. I do believe he's got a really good squad around, a good squad of players, but he's done a great job. To lose the amount of players that they did, the staff they did as well, all the change around the club, to steady the ship, to do what he's done he's been immense, and he's just such a calm head speaking there. He mentions a couple of bits in regards to VAR and things which you probably won't be happy with, but I think he'll be fairly pleased with his group. He probably got from them what he thought was probably going to happen. Maybe he probably would have liked it to be a bit closer of a match in terms of scoreline. A couple of opportunities. He didn't really create too much. First half wasn't really too much. Second half, maybe Thiago had a couple of opportunities. Donnarumma maybe a couple of good saves. But I think, overall, he'll be reasonably pleased with his group of how they acquitted themselves. But yeah, obviously disappointed with the amount of goals that went in the end.
But 2 games to go. There is still a flicker of the possibility they might need their passports at some point next season.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you'd have given him that at the start of the season, he'd have bit your hand off. So 51 points at this stage in the season is terrific. You'd like a couple more to cement a little European trip for the club, which would be, it'd cement their journey that they've been on, which has been fantastic. And they're an ambitious club, and I think they'll be very pleased with how this season's gone, of course.
One of the stories of the season for you?
100%. I think I was one of the people that looked at it and more looked at what they lost. I wasn't as aware as Ben would be. We've been talking off air, and he's like, no, they're a really, really good squad, which is undoubtable. But to lose Thomas Frank, to lose the captain, obviously Tony going, Guemo, Visser, they're big names. They're big names for any team to lose, and for them to seamlessly kind of transition into Keith Andrews being the manager and not only survive, like I say, looking on the up, looking for a career best for Brentford in the Premier League, potentially going into Europe. I was actually asked about them, is this their best season? And I didn't want to dive in because how they've done since they've come into the Premier League, establishing themselves and really not really being a part of a relegation scrap is incredible. And now to go again, if they could get European status, then that really would be really a top season.
It certainly would. But for Manchester City, it was all about winning. They did win. Here's what their manager thinks about it, Pep Guardiola.
Pep, how do you reflect on that? That was patient. You had to be patient to get that outcome.
But a really tough opponent. The season has proven in everywhere where I played, and his transition, his set pieces, the throw-ins, and how create damage. And we suffered in the first minutes, but after that, We played a really good game, especially in left side in the first half. In the second half on both sides. We score, Jérémy is outstanding in many things. And different second half, we put more players in the box. First half was not, and that's why we suffer a little bit to create not the chances, but to be a final product. And at the end, we take a great result and keep going.
Jérémy, very much the star of the moment, isn't he? The man at the moment with the goals that he's scoring in the form that he's in.
Yeah, it looks like a final product already. Of course, he can improve, but always had this incredible ability to dribble and to make this kind of action. The connection with Nico is extraordinary, outstanding, and but now it's winning games. So the people up front, not just a striker, not just Erling. Look Omar today again. I'm so incredibly pleased because he gave us energy and always have a guy who score goals. So, and I had the feeling that not just Erling, as I said, so the wingers attacking me had to score goals, and Jérémy did, made this a step.
I know this is the outcome that you wanted. We've spoken quite a lot in the last 24 hours or so, but you hand it over to Arsenal now. They've got to show up tomorrow, haven't they?
No, we see. So not is in our hands. Before Everton was difficult, but the whole difference as well. But this was in our hands. Now it's not. So, but what to do is our job. We didn't do perfectly in Everton. It was tough. Today come back, and Wednesday Crystal Palace. The team was going to play a European final. So last season always was difficult because they have extraordinary players and managers. So, but try to do our job and wait.
But the players, they're not giving up. Not suggesting that they would anyway. But the fight, the determination to take it to the final day
was the real proof. 1-3 down and emotions, and we play incredible first half. Second half, and we give away. So it happened last season many times. This season we're more solid in that position, but that game we give away. But it's football. It's happened. This guy, how you react, look to the mark, how incredible performance Nathan has done. So I'm really pleased for the way we have done it.
Yeah, it's a very good point, that, Joe, isn't it? After the emotion of Monday night and not being in their hands to respond like they did today.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's what he expects. He's allowed to enjoy it and he's allowed to interview like that. But he'd have been disappointed on Monday night, but back to business. Like Erling said, Erling Haaland after the game, if you're at Manchester City, you've got to expect to win. And whether that's from behind or whether you lead from the front, whatever it is, especially this business end of the season now, you have to perform, and they have today.
And it's that type of character of person they have, as well as the talent of player in the Manchester City squad.
Absolutely, yeah. Winners, competitive winners. You see the likes of Bernardo Silva in there, and the mentality that they have, Erling Haaland, and the likes of them guys that are driving the standard, the mentality forward, and the serial winners for sure.
And players like Doku coming to the party at absolutely the right time.
Exactly, and Jérémy Doku talked about us again in his interview. He's almost probably been a little bit frustrated that he's being lauded over these couple of weeks because he feels like he's been that player for a long time. But you have to have the end product. And I know he's had that rammed down his throat, but he's been given time. And the biggest compliment I can pay him, yes, he is a naturally talented player, but he's learning. You can tell he's learning. And he's saying that's his instinct now, but his instinct wasn't before to cut in and put it in that top corner. It was almost head down and kind of weaving past people. Ben talked about the skills that he's using now. They're not that eccentric. They're just very economic in how he gets past people. And now his instinct is to rip it into that top corner. You think of people like Ian Robben, even the great Lionel Messi, when he gets it in on the inside and manages to whip it into that far corner. From a goalkeeping point of view, I remember waving one in from Riyad Mahrez. You know what they're going to do. It's just you can't stop them. And if he can keep building on that, as well as his kind of inside-outside game, we've got a real top player on our hands.
And big moments at big times. Well, as we say, time will tell how big that one is at Everton. But today, after an hour, 0-0, and he produces that. Yeah,
absolutely. Top players come at the best of times, and they stand up. And he said in the interview he didn't even think about it. He just did it, and that's confidence for him as well. He's stepping inside. He knows he's done it probably 100,000, thousands of times in training. He's going to pick it out. Joe mentioned the players that have done it in the past. Have spent hours just doing that, chopping in, quick timing, and difficult for keepers to get anywhere near them when they're bending away from them. So, yeah, his confidence is there, his ability's there, and yeah, he's showing it at the right times.
So if you're City keeper tomorrow, do you take the dog for a walk, or do you watch? What do you do?
It takes all different people, right? It takes everyone different ways. And don't get me wrong, if I had something important going on in my family, then I'd be doing it with them. But if I've got nothing going on, I'll have a little watch.